A coin is a small object, usually round and flat, used primarily as a medium of exchange or legal tender. They are standardized in weight, and produced in large quantities at a mint in order to facilitate trade. They are most often issued by a government. Coins often have images, numerals, or text on them. The faces of coins or metals are sometimes called the obverse and the reverse, referring to the front and back sides, respectively. The obverse of a coin is commonly called heads, because it often depicts the head of a prominent person, and the reverse is known as tails. The first metal coins, invented in the ancient Greek world and disseminated during the Hellenistic period, were precious metal, based, and were invented in order to simplify and regularize the task of measuring and weighing bullion, bulk metal, carried around for the purpose of transactions. They carried their value within the coins themselves, but the stampings also induced manipulations, such as the clipping of coins to remove some of the precious metal. Most modern coinage metals are base metal, and their value comes from their status as fiat money. The value of the coin is established by law. In the last 100 years, the face value of circulated coins has occasionally been lower than the value of the metal they contain, primarily due to inflation. If the difference becomes significant, the issuing authority may decide to withdraw these coins from circulation, possibly issuing new equivalents with a different composition, or the public may decide to melt the coins down or hoard them. See Gresham's law. Currently, coins are used as money in everyday transactions, circulating alongside banknotes. Usually, the highest value coin in circulation, excluding bullion coins, is worth less than the lowest value note. Coins are usually more efficient than banknotes because they last longer. Banknotes last only about 4 years, compared with 30 years for a coin. Exceptions to the rule of face value being higher than content value currently occur for bullion coins made of copper, silver, or gold, and rarely other metals, such as platinum or palladium, intended for collectors or investors in precious metals. Examples of modern gold collector/investor coins include the British sovereign minted by the United Kingdom, the American gold eagle minted by the United States, the Canadian gold maple leaf minted by Canada, and the Krugerrand, minted by South Africa. While the eagle and sovereign coins have nominal, purely symbolic, face values, the Krugerrand does not. Commemorative coins usually serve as collector's items only, although some countries also issue commemorative coins for regular circulation, such as the €2 commemorative coins and US America the Beautiful quarters. Most coins presently are made of a base metal, and their value comes from their status as fiat money. This means that the value of the coin is established by law, and thus is determined by the free market only in as much as national currencies are used in domestic trade and also traded in the international market. Thus, these coins are monetary tokens, just as paper currency is. Their value is usually not backed by metal, but rather by some form of government guarantee. Thus, there is very little economic difference between notes and coins of equivalent face value. Coins may be in circulation with face values lower than the value of their component metals, but they are never initially issued with such value, and the shortfall only arises over time due to inflation, as market values for the metal overtake the face value of the coin. Examples are the pre-1965 US dime, quarter, half dollar, and dollar, containing slightly less than a tenth, quarter, half, and full ounce of silver, respectively, US nickel, and pre-1982 US penny. As a result of the increase in the value of copper, the United States greatly reduced the amount of copper in each penny. Since mid-1982, United States pennies are made of 97.5% zinc, with the remaining 2.5% being a coating of copper. Extreme differences between face values and metal values of coins cause coins to be hoarded or removed from circulation by illicit smelters in order to realize the value of their metal content. This is an example of Gresham's law. The United States Mint, in an attempt to avoid this, implemented new interim rules on December 14, 2006, subject to public comment for 30 days, which criminalized the melting and export of pennies and nickels. Violators can be fined up to $10,000 and or imprisoned for up to 5 years. A coin's value as a collector's item or as an investment generally depends on its condition, specific historical significance, rarity, quality, beauty of the design and general popularity with collectors. If a coin is greatly lacking in all of these, it is unlikely to be worth much. The value of bullion coins is also influenced to some extent by those factors, but is largely based on the value of their gold, silver, or platinum content. Sometimes non-monetized bullion coins such as the Canadian maple leaf and the American gold eagle are minted with nominal face values less than the value of the metal in them, but as such coins are never intended for circulation, these face values have no relevance. Collector catalogs often include information about coins to assist collectors with identifying and grading. Additional resources can be found online for collectors. These are collector clubs, collection management tools, marketplaces, trading platforms, and forums. Coins can be used as creative media of expression, from fine art sculpture to the penny machines that can be found in most amusement parks. In the Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, in the United States there are some regulations specific to nickels and pennies that are informative on this topic. 31 CFR 82.1 forbids unauthorized persons from exporting, melting, or treating any 5 or 1 cent coins. This has been a particular problem with nickels and dimes, and with some comparable coins in other currencies, because of their relatively low face value and unstable commodity prices. For a while the copper in US pennies was worth more than 1 cent, so people would hoard pennies and then melt them down for their metal value. It cost more than face value to manufacture pennies or nickels, so any widespread loss of the coins in circulation could be expensive for the US Treasury. This was more of a problem when coins were still made of precious metals like silver and gold, so strict laws against alteration make more sense historically. 31 CFR 82.2, b, goes on to state that, the prohibition contained in 82.1 against the treatment of 5-cent coins and 1-cent coins shall not apply to the treatment of these coins for educational, amusement, novelty, jewelry, and similar purposes as long as the volumes treated and the nature of the treatment makes it clear that such treatment is not intended as a means by which to profit solely from the value of the metal content of the coins. Debasement and clipping. Throughout history, monarchs and governments have often created more coinage than their supply of precious metals would allow if the coins were pure metal. By replacing some fraction of a coin's precious metal content with a base metal, often copper or nickel, the intrinsic value of each individual coin was reduced, thereby debasing the money, allowing the coining authority to produce more coins than would otherwise be possible. Debasement occasionally occurs in order to make the coin physically harder and therefore less likely to be worn down as quickly, but the more usual reason is to profit from the difference between face value and metal value. Debasement of money almost always leads to price inflation. Sometimes price controls are at the same time also instituted by the governing authority, but historically these have generally proved unworkable. The United States is unusual in that it has only slightly modified its coinage system, except for the images and symbols on the coins, which have changed a number of times, to accommodate 2 centuries of inflation. The 1-cent coin has changed little since 1856, though its composition was changed in 1982 to remove virtually all copper from the coin, and still remains in circulation, despite a greatly reduced purchasing power. On the other end of the spectrum, the largest coin in common circulation is valued at 25 cents, a very low value for the largest denomination coin compared to many other countries. Increases in the prices of copper, nickel, and zinc meant that both the US 1 and 5-cent coins became worth more for their raw metal content than their face, fiat, value. In particular, copper 1-cent pieces, those dated prior to 1982 and some 1982 dated coins, contained about 2 cents worth of copper. Some denominations of circulating coins that were formerly minted in the United States are no longer made. These include coins with a face value of a half cent, 2 cents, 3 cents, and 20 cents. The half-dollar and dollar coins are still produced, but mostly for vending machines and collectors. In the past, the U.S. also coined the following denominations for circulation in gold: $1, $2.50, $3, $5, $10, and $20. In addition, cents were originally slightly larger than the modern quarter and weighed nearly half an ounce, while 5-cent coins, known then as half dimes, were smaller than a dime and made of a silver alloy. Dollar coins were also much larger, and weighed approximately an ounce. $1 gold coins are no longer produced and rarely used. The U.S. also issues bullion and commemorative coins with the following denominations: 50 cents, $1, $5, $10, $25, $50, and $100. Circulating coins commonly suffered from shaving or clipping. The public would cut off small amounts of precious metal from their edges to sell it and then pass on the mutilated coins at full value. Unmilled British sterling silver coins were sometimes reduced to almost half their minted weight. This form of debasement in Tudor England was commented on by Sir Thomas Gresham, whose name was later attached to Gresham's Law. The monarch would have to periodically recall circulating coins, paying only the bullion value of the silver, and reminting them. This, also known as recoinage, is a long and difficult process that was done only occasionally. Many coins have milled or wreathed edges, originally designed to make it easier to detect clipping. Some coins made of precious metals were manufactured with a cross on one side to make it easier to split the coin into halves or quarters. Some convicted criminals from the British Isles who were sentenced to transportation to Australia in the 18th and 19th centuries used coins to leave messages of remembrance to loved ones left behind in Britain. The coins were defaced, smoothed, and inscribed, either by stippling or engraving, with sometimes touching words of loss. These coins were called convict love tokens or leaden hearts. Some of these tokens are in the collection of the National Museum of Australia. The side of a coin carrying an image of a monarch, other authority, see list of people on coins, or a national emblem is called the obverse, colloquially, heads. The other side, carrying various types of information, is called the reverse, colloquially, tails. The year of minting is usually shown on the obverse, although some Chinese coins, most Canadian coins, the pre-2008 British 20p coin, the post-1999 American quarter, and all Japanese coins are exceptions. The relation of the images on the obverse and reverse of a coin is the coin's orientation. If the image on the obverse of the coin is right side up and turning the coin left or right on its vertical axis reveals that the reverse of the coin is also right side up, then the coin is said to have medallic orientation typical of the euro and pound sterling. If, however, turning the coin left or right shows that the reverse image is upside down, then the coin is said to have coin orientation, characteristic of the coins of the United States dollar. Bimetallic coins are sometimes used for higher values and for commemorative purposes. In the 1990s, France used a trimetallic coin. Common circulating bimetallic examples include the €1, €2, British £1, £2, and Canadian $2 and several peso coins in Mexico. The exergue is the space on a coin beneath the main design, often used to show the coin's date, although it is sometimes left blank or contains a mint mark, privy mark, or some other decorative or informative design feature. Many coins do not have an exergue at all, especially those with few or no legends, such as the Victorian bun penny. Not all coins are round, they come in a variety of shapes. The Australian 50-cent coin, for example, has 12 flat sides. Some coins have wavy edges, e.g. the $2.20 coins of Hong Kong and the 10-cent coins of Bahamas. Some are square-shaped, such as the 15-cent coin of the Bahamas and the 50-cent coin from Aruba. During the 1970s, Swazi coins were minted in several shapes, including squares, polygons, and wavy-edged circles with 8 and 12 waves. Historically, a considerable variety of coinage metals, including alloys, and other materials, e.g. porcelain, have been used to produce coins for circulation, collection, and metal investment. Bullion coins often serve as more convenient stores of assured metal quantity and purity than other bullion. Some other coins, like the British 20 and 50 pence coins and the Canadian loonie, have an odd number of sides, with the edges rounded off. This way the coin has a constant diameter, recognizable by vending machines whichever direction it is inserted. A triangular coin with a face value of £5, produced to commemorate the 2007/2008 Tutankhamun exhibition at the O2 Arena, was commissioned by the Isle of Man. It became legal tender on December 6, 2007. Other triangular coins issued earlier include Cabinda coin, Bermuda coin, $2 Cook Islands 1992 triangular coin, Uganda Millennium coin and Polish sterling silver 10 zloty coin. Some medieval coins, called bracteates, were so thin they were struck on only one side. Many coins over the years have been manufactured with integrated holes such as Chinese cash coins, Japanese coins, colonial French coins, etc. This may have been done to permit their being strung on cords, to facilitate storage and being carried. Nowadays, holes help to differentiate coins of similar size and metal, such as the Japanese 50 yen and 100 yen coin. The Royal Canadian Mint is now able to produce holographic effect gold and silver coinage. However, this procedure is not limited to only bullion or commemorative coinage. The 500 yen coin from Japan was subject to a massive amount of counterfeiting. The Japanese government in response produced a circulatory coin with a holographic image. The Royal Canadian Mint has also released several coins that are colored, the first of which was in commemoration of Remembrance Day. The subject was a colored poppy on the reverse of a 25-cent piece minted through a patented process. An example of non-metallic composite coins, sometimes incorrectly called plastic coins, was introduced into circulation in Transnistria on August 22, 2014. Most of these coins are also non-circular, with different shapes corresponding to different coin values. For a list of many pure metallic elements and their alloys which have been used in actual circulation coins and for trial experiments, see coinage metals. Physics and chemistry. To flip a coin to see whether it lands heads or tails is to use it as a two-sided die in what is known in mathematics as a Bernoulli trial. If the probability of heads, in the parlance of Bernoulli trials, a success, is exactly 0.5, the coin is fair. Coins can also be spun on a flat surface such as a table. This results in the following phenomenon: as the coin falls over and rolls on its edge, it spins faster and faster. Formally, the precession rate of the symmetry axis of the coin, i.e., the axis passing from one face of the coin to the other, before coming to an abrupt stop. This is mathematically modeled as a finite time singularity. The precession rate is accelerating to infinity, before it suddenly stops, and has been studied using high-speed photography and devices such as Euler's disk. The slowing down is predominantly caused by rolling friction, air resistance is minor, and the singularity, divergence of the precession rate, can be modeled as a power law with exponent approximately 1/3. Iron and copper coins have a characteristic metallic smell that is produced upon contact with oils in the skin. Perspiration is chemically reduced upon contact with these metals, which causes the skin oils to decompose, forming with iron the volatile molecule 1-octane 3-1. Regional examples. In the Philippines, small, engraved gold coins called pilonchitos have been excavated, some as lightweight as 0.09 to 2.65 grams. Pilonchitos have been unearthed from Mandaluyong, Bataan, the banks of the Pasig River, Batangas, Marinduque, Samar, Leyte, and some areas in Mindanao. Large quantities were found in Indonesian archaeological sites, suggesting that they may not have originated in the Philippines, but rather were imported. However, numerous Spanish accounts state that the gold coins were mined and made in the Philippines, such as the following from 1586. The people of this island, Luzon, are very skillful in their handling of gold. They weigh it with the greatest skill and delicacy that have ever been seen. The first thing they teach their children is the knowledge of gold and the weights with which they weigh it, for there is no other money among them. The term pilonchitos is a contemporary word, used by modern-day antique collectors, who thought that the cone-shaped pieces looked like a pylon of sugar. Early historical descriptions of the term include the Spanish granitas de oro, small grains of gold, or simply by whatever local language terms were used to mean gold in those times, such as bulawan. Pylon cheetos are presumably an offshoot of silver coinage and may have evolved into the bullet or pod duan coinage of Sukhothai in Thailand. Early historical records document the extensive use of gold throughout the Philippine archipelago before the arrival of European colonists. It was used extensively as currency, and also used in everyday items such as clothing and finery. Thank you for watching this video.